So the Bill of Rights. Why did they make the Bill of Rights?
For laws.
Okay, true, for laws. What laws? And who wanted the Bill of Rights? What was that group of people who wanted the Bill of
Laws
Rights?
for America.
Type it in the comments, people.
I can type that fast.
Garrett's responses have been killing me. The first time you asked, Garrett said, "Why not?"
Why
And
not?
now Garrett just says people.
All right.
So I have Federalist from Zaco.
All right. It was actually the Anti-Federalists who wanted the Constitution. The Federalists wanted the Constitution as it stood, and the Anti-Federalists did not want the Constitution unless it had a Bill of Rights. So we had to have a Bill of Rights put in, okay, for the Anti-Federalists to agree with it. And there were a lot of states that did not want wanted the Constitution without the Bill of Rights, regardless. They just wanted it. But there were a lot of Anti-Federalists who were like, no, I'm only going to have the Constitution unless, or I only want the Constitution if they have a Bill of Rights. I tried to be so dramatic and it didn't really work. So anyways, our Bill of Rights are really important and we are going to learn them here today. And then I'm going to post something online and you guys are going to complete that with what you learn here today. So let's start with our Bill of Rights. How many Bill of Rights are there? In the Bill of Rights, how many amendments are there? Maybe I'll phrase it that way.
5.
10. You are right. There are 10 Bill of Rights, and we are going to learn all of them. And I will be honest, usually we are in class and we are very active. I had to kind of rewrite this and get some ideas from other places and that kind of thing. So we are going to learn all 10 today. And yes, I'm going to ask that you sit somewhere and do these lovely motions with me so that you can learn the Bill of Rights. Are you ready?
No.
Connor, type it in.
Oh, sorry. Let me type out no really quickly.
No.
Mike, turn off your mic. All right. So, all right. Number 1, hold up one finger. All right. Now, in your freedom, in your first freedom, in your amendments, there are actually 5 different things. So, what is your First Amendment? Does anybody know what is in the First Amendment? What makes up the First Amendment? There are 5 ideas.
I forgot.
Nobody?
Free word.
I believe Putin is trying to say freedom of speech.
Yes, that's one of them. See what we can do with our finger for freedom of speech? What's another one?
What about religion?
Yes, religion. And if we have our finger and we were going to point and we kind of wanted to point to where God is located currently, where would we point? We'd point up, right? So
God isn't real.
So some people are going to say God's all around you, but for our purpose, we point up to like heaven. So we have freedom of religion, which is 1. We have freedom of speech, which is 1. We have freedom of press. So take your finger and press down. You're going to press down. So like you're pressing down on something for freedom of press. Then you have freedom of petition. What do you do with a petition? If you want to agree to the petition, what would you do?
Sign it.
Sign it, right? So you're going to sign the petition, right? And then our last one is our freedom to assembly, which is where we take our finger and we call you over. So that's your freedom of assembly. All right. So again, that's all number 1, or freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, and I'm pressing on something, freedom of petition, I'm signing it, and freedom of assembly. So I'm calling you over. Okay. And number two, all right, number of two, you're going to hold up two fingers, right? Two fingers. So we hold up our two fingers. What do you think? There's two fingers here. So what do you think these two fingers are?
All right, so Connor says the right to bear arms.
Right, the right to bear arms. So we got two fingers here. So again, we have number one is our freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of petition, and freedom of assembly. And number two, we have the right to bear arms. Okay. Now we're going to go on to number three. Okay. Number three, I want you guys to hold up your hand kind of like I am right here. You have your three fingers, and then we have a circle right here. What piece of money do you think could fit in here pretty easily? That's a circle. What do you think could fit in there? What do you think?
Quarters from Becca and Connor.
Yeah, quarters, right?
I said quarter.
And with quarters, it was, what act did all the colonists get angry about that talked about quarters during the Revolutionary War? What was that?
Soldiers in homes.
Right, the soldiers in the homes. You're supposed to be typing all of this out.
And Julia says the Quartering Act.
Absolutely, the Quartering Act, right? So the Quartering Act is this. It's number three. So we say no quartering act. So here we've made our quarter with our fingers right here. I'm going to go real slow because if I move too fast, it doesn't work. So we make our quarter, and we have to remember that you have you and your husband or your wife, but three makes a crowd. So that soldier is an extra person. So two's company, but three, that's a crowd. So no quartering act. You cannot put soldiers in our homes during times of trouble. Okay, so times of war. We can't even do it during times of peace either. So no quartering act. Number three talks about the quartering act, and we're making that quarter with our finger right here. All right, now we're going to take our next one. I'm trying to get used to where the camera's at exactly. The next one is our Fourth Amendment. So we need only four fingers. So let's go ahead and let's put our thumb in and then roll our four fingers down over. And now imagine that you're knocking on a door. Okay. What do you think that's going to be? Our Fourth Amendment talks about us knocking on a door. What do you think that one's going to be about? What do you think it's going to prevent?
So Connor says protection from unreasonable searches and seizures.
Yes. So if we think about number 4, which is our Fourth Amendment, you cannot have illegal searches and seizures. So that doesn't mean that, what that means is that you can't have the police just show up to your house, knock on your door, and barge in and start going through all your stuff. Nobody would appreciate that. You wouldn't appreciate that. I wouldn't appreciate it. Nobody would. All right. Let's go on to number 5. Number 5, we hold up all 5 fingers and we go, and I cover my mouth. Okay. So I cover my mouth with all my 5 fingers because I'm going to plead. I need to sit farther back. I'm going to plead the 5th in a jury trial. Do I have to incriminate myself? If I killed somebody, do I have to say I killed somebody? Or can I sit silently, plead the 5th, and just at that point in time do nothing? Just
I never said I killed anyone. And I did.
Right? Okay. So
Oh, you did too?
Right. Okay. So exactly, you can plead the 5th. You don't have to say anything about yourself. You can keep your mouth shut and cover your mouth, and you don't have to say anything. All right. So, anyways, that's pleading the 5th. All right. The next one, okay, the next one is 6. Okay. So, 6, we're going to hold up our wrist like this. And for me specifically, I'm going to pull up my sleeves. Okay. What do I have on? Oh boy, I'm going the wrong way. What do I have on my wrist? What do I have here?
Nose. Skin.
What do I have?
Apple Watch.
A watch, right? So when we talk about the 6th, we're going to have our 5 fingers. Okay. And here's our extra one, the 6th one. And we point to our watches. And why do we do that? Because we have the right to a speedy trial. Okay. We have a right to the speedy trial. So we're going to point to our watches. The speedy trial actually doesn't mean that it takes place in a 48-hour period or anything like that. It is speedy based off of what the government can get done in a reasonable time frame. They cannot put another case in front of yours, those kind of things. So they have to take them in order in which they have been put forth in front of the court. Okay. So they can't go, oh, you're such a horrible criminal. We're just going to let you rot in prison and we're never going to get to your case. Okay. It has to go in order. And like right now, guys, all the cases in the courts and everything, they're all closed down. So with that, everybody's just kind of in a holding pattern. And it doesn't mean that they're still not being part of a speedy trial. They're just kind of in that holding pattern. So remember, number 6 is the right to a speedy trial. Okay. All right. Number 7. This is a fun one. Number 7. So I need you to hold up 7 fingers for me. Okay. So 7 fingers. This is you, and here's the judge. Okay. So this is you, and this is the judge. Who do you think these other people might be?
Jury.
The jury, because in number 7, you have the right to a jury of your peers. Okay. Not people that aren't like you, but a jury of your peers. All right, let's think about a jury of your peers and what that means. Okay. Let's say, for instance, that you have stolen a car and gotten arrested. All right. If it is a jury of your peers, do you think, If it's a jury of your peers, it would be not necessarily people your exact same age. They can't guarantee that, but people that are from a similar maybe background or something like that. So you're going to have both your lawyers, and your lawyers are going to try to choose the best jury for you. Okay. Now, remember, there's 2 people in every case. There's the person who stole the car and the person who got the car stolen. The person who got the car stolen wants to see this person over here who stole the car suffer, right? They want them in jail. But the person in jail, maybe he stole the car for good reason, and they want to, make people understand that or give him sympathy because of that. Okay. So that's why they have the jury. Okay. Or maybe it was really a lookalike that stole the car. Or maybe it was his twin brother. I mean, who knows? Or twin sister, because girls steal cars too. All right. So when you look at the jury for this, your jury is going to be somebody that maybe can be sympathetic to the person who stole the car. But on the other side, those people are going to want to have somebody who's maybe had their car stolen before, a jury of their peers, essentially. So we may think of finding a mother who's had a child or somebody else, maybe a relative that had a niece or a nephew who had stolen cars or, done bad choices in the past, and she can relate and she feels sorry for this person who stole the car because maybe they stole the car because they needed to get to work, who knows. But the juries are really going to be set up in the way that of people living kind of within your same area. So a long time ago, the jury used to be that if you were going to go to jury, they put you on a ship and then they sailed you all the way overseas to Britain and you went on trial there. Do you think that would barely be fair? Do you think those people really understood what the Americans were going through? when Britain already had their cities pretty well set up? Probably,
No.
probably not, right? So those are not juries of our peers. Juries of our peers are people who live in our same area, who understand our same situations, that kind of thing. So, and one of your civic duties is to go on jury duty. So remember, number 7 is you and the judge and the jury of your peers. All right, number 8. I need you to hold up 8 fingers. And for this, I need you to think, what happened to those thumbs? Well, let me ask you this. Let's say that you guys broke the law. Could they cut your thumbs off as punishment? Could they cut them off?
Joke's on you, I don't have thumbs.
Stop. Could you cut them off?
No.
No.
We're gonna no from Rachel and Becca.
No, you can't cut off your thumbs. That would be cruel and unusual. And that's exactly what number 8 says. No cruel
Unusual, kid.
and unusual punishment. So number 8 is cruel and unusual punishments. None of those. You cannot cut off somebody's thumb because they broke a law. They stole a car. They were drug dealers. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. You can't cut their thumbs off because that is a cruel and unusual punishment. Okay? So number 8, no cruel or unusual punishment. All right. Now, number 9. For this one, I have to stand up. All right. I specifically also wore my Hamilton shirt for this. I'm going to kind of angle my picture down a little bit because you need to see my pockets. All right. So for number 9, I want you to stick your hands in your pocket and leave just one thumb out. All right. That means that all of the 9 fingers represent the 9th Amendment, and those are all my amendments. This is everything that the government has given me to protect myself. Basically, there are other amendments other than just what's listed in the Constitution that allows me to protect myself. Some of those things that I want to mention, okay? For instance, do you guys have the right to move if you want to move? If you wanted to move out of Westville or Michigan City, do you have the right to move out of
Becca says
Westville?
Yes.
Does the Constitution actually say you have the right to move out of Westville, or no? It's a 50-50, yes or no. Does the Constitution actually state you have the right to move?
Becca, Nathan, and Alex say no.
No, it doesn't. That's because it's covered in the 9th Amendment, saying that you have other rights other than just what's listed in the amendments or in the Constitution. So, something else you can think about, another right that you have. Do you have the right to choose to work in whatever job you want to work in?
Yes.
Yeah, but the Constitution doesn't tell you that. That's a right you're given in number 9. Number 9 are all the fingers that are hidden right now, okay? These are mine. They're hidden because they're mine. And these are all of the protections that I have that are not listed in the Constitution. Things that are not listed in the Constitution are things like I can choose what house I want to live in. If I want to live in a beach house, I can live in a beach house. If I want to live in a mansion and I can afford it, I can live in a mansion. But maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to live in a condo in Chicago and I don't want to have a yard to take care of. I can do that too. There is nowhere that tells me exactly how I have to live my life. Nobody to tell me, what kind of car I have to drive or if I can move in and out of a city area. Now, do you guys remember last year when we watched the documentary on North Korea? Were they allowed to move wherever they wanted, whenever they wanted?
Becca says no, and Rachel says no.
No, they were not.
9.
Because they actually had rules set in place that said you are not allowed to move past this, and you're not allowed to go in this section of North Korea. You have to stay in your section unless you have basically a pass book that will let you cross from one section to another. So there's that as well. So just kind of understand that these are freedoms that we are given because of our amendments. All right. And then number 10, what does it look like I'm doing? And this is a little harder than I thought, considering that the picture is messing up. What does it look like I'm doing with my hands? What am I doing?
Doing a horizontal push-up.
Yeah, well,
Rachel
that.
says pushing.
Yeah, I'm pushing people away. I'm saying back off. All right. Because all the powers given, whatever powers are not given to the states, excuse me, to the federal government, are then given to the states. So this is an interesting one. This just came up in the news just the other day. So you may have heard President Trump just the other day on the news say that he has absolute authority and whatever he says goes. And he said, if I say that the states have to open up their borders and they have to stop the quarantine and we're going to open up all the businesses again, then what I say goes because I have executive orders. And I looked at my husband and I was like, that is not true. And I said, according to the 10th Amendment, the states have whatever powers are not directly listed in the Constitution. Do you think in the Constitution it literally states something about, times of quarantine and the president gets to say who's going to be able to go back to work and who's not? There is nothing in the Constitution about that. So with this is one of those amendment rights. The states were afraid of one person having too much tyrannical power, meaning being a tyrant, being able to control everything. And Donald Trump was like, I have executive orders. I can do whatever I want. And that's not true, because in the Constitution, they added the Bill of Rights. And number 10 says that whatever is not directly stated, given to the federal government as a power, is then given to the states as a power. All right. So I'm going to review those all together. So get ready. We're going to go through them really kind of as fast as my video capabilities will let me. All right. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. All right. 1, we're going to point up to God for the religion. We're going to put our finger in front of our mouth for freedom of speech. We're going to press into something for freedom of press. We're now going to turn it and make it our freedom of petition for our petition. And then we're going to turn our finger over and call everybody to assemble. And this is all done underneath Amendment number 1. Amendment number 2 is our gun. This is our freedom to bear arms, or our right to bear arms. Now let's go to number 3. 3, remember, we're going to make that quarter right here, and it says no quartering of our troops in our homes, because 2's company, but 3 is a crowd. All right. Then we have 4. And where do we get our 4 from? We fold our thumb in and we slowly roll down our fingers here, and we make that hand so that we can knock at the door, because this prohibits our unreasonable searches and seizures. So number 4, you can't just knock down somebody's door and go in and search their home. Number 5, we cover our mouth because we plead the 5th and we do not have to incriminate ourselves. Number 6, we point to our watches, okay? Because we have our 5 fingers, and our 6th one is pointing to our watch for the right to a speedy trial. 7, remember, we're talking about those trials now. So you have your jury, the judge, and yourself, right? So you have the right to a jury of your peers. We don't have to send you to another country to determine if you are guilty or innocent. Number 8, do remember, we can't get our thumbs cut off as punishment. So number 8 is no cruel and unusual punishments. Then, of course, we have number 9, where we stick all of our hands except for our one thumb in our pocket, all right? And this means that all of these fingers in here are mine. They're mine. Nobody else can touch them. So that is all of the rights that we are granted that are not directly listed into the Constitution. And then number 10 is like back off, push away. I'm the states, back off, federal government. You don't have all the powers. Any of the powers that aren't directly listed in the Constitution, they're mine. So back off, okay? Back off, federal government. And that is our first 10 amendments. Now, to be quite honest, usually we do this over several days and we are a lot louder. But this will give you at least some idea on how to remember the 10 amendments. Now, there is a short little assignment that goes with this so we can practice our 10 amendments. It's got 2 questions on it that will be posted with this video in case people didn't watch the video or come to class today to learn their 10 amendments. So look for that in about the next 10 minutes after I get off of this lovely video conference. I have to let the video completely load up to YouTube, and then the assignment and the video will come all at once. Are there any questions about our Bill of Rights?